If you're a lawyer looking to increase your business through online marketing, you've come to the right place. My name is Matt Post.
And I'm Asha Madabi.
And this is the SCM Dynamics Lawyer Marketing Podcast. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing video marketing. Okay, so the first question that comes into mind is why, right? You always want, why do videos? Why have a video marketing campaign?
Yeah, and I think now you've seen a ton of articles, everyone's talking about how video is the way to go, especially in social media. We've seen a ton of case studies from Facebook showing us that video ads perform much better than image ads. They even created an option to create video ads through their platform just by using images, and to turn them into video to help improve people actually watching the ads, clicking on the ads, and of course, Facebook making more money.
So people are more likely to engage with video ads.
Yes. And we also see YouTube is now huge and people like videos. A lot of the time, instead of going and doing Google searches, which I still personally prefer, people go watch videos instead.
Yeah, I think the amount of content on an hourly basis throughout, over the average of a day of how many hours of video that is consumed is, we're talking astronomical numbers at this point. But okay, so we have ads, but should somebody be incorporating, like you said, YouTube, constantly adding videos into YouTube into, like, you think of like a content campaign where you're going to be blogging X amount per month. Should there be a video element to that as well? And if so, is there advantage of doing video over doing, sticking with blogs?
I think you should do both. And here's the thing, it's really about who are your audiences. Like, where are they more likely to be? Are they going to be doing more searches, or they're going to be on videos, or is it both? And if it's both, then, which I think probably is going to be the case for a lot of businesses. So in that situation, I would do both: to create a video and then write a blog about it, put them on one page, then use the video on social, on YouTube. That way you don't have to think about, like, what are you going to write about? You already have one piece of information and just utilizing two different mediums to deliver it to your audience.
So how would somebody know if their audience is searching or looking for video versus blogs? Right? How, as a lawyer, how do you know this?
That's a very good question. And to be honest, I would do some research just to see what's out there. But the best way is to try both and see where you get more audience, because depending on what kind of law you do is going to be a difference. And also what kind of marketing you're doing. Are you business to business, or are you business to consumer? Because business to business videos may not be the right way to go about it. But once again, think of your audience, think of how old they are, and use that information to gather, like, what are they most likely to be doing. Also, are you doing something where they're actively looking for you, or are you targeting people who might need your services and might not be actively looking for you right now?
Gotcha. So, and from an SEO standpoint with video, what I always look at is, how fresh is the site? Like, is it a brand new site, brand new company? If so, then video is definitely, for me, high on the list, simply because the ability to rank a video, the time it takes to rank a video is a lot shorter compared to a website or a web page. And for me, we can't really ignore that YouTube is was the second largest search engine in the U.S. Maybe, I don't think the world. I think it's just the U.S. Either way, and I don't think it's any coincidence that it's also a Google property. So, the largest search engine, Google; second largest search engine, YouTube. And also, I think we to be able to control that message better and be able to connect, to better connect with your audience and convey that message is much higher with video. The written word can be misinterpreted. That's a little, it's easier to really build that personal connection with the potential client before even having a conversation with them. They're able to know how you are, how you work, and that's if you're authentic. And I know a lot of attorneys, their YouTube videos are more reflective of what you'd see in a TV commercial. And in my opinion, I don't know what your opinion is. My opinion, that's not really the route to take with YouTube. It doesn't fit with YouTube. I mean, do you see the same thing, or are you thinking that there should be more of a commercial production element to YouTube videos for lawyers?
I mean, it doesn't have to be. With the technology we have available, it doesn't have to be like very expensive thing to do. I mean, and here's the thing, what are you using your videos for? And even if you are running ads, you're going to be testing your demographics, you're going to be testing your messaging. For that, just use what you have, like fine tune it. And then if you have the budget for it, you can hire an actual company to go professional. But once again, it's not necessary. We can do really high quality audio and video with tools that are not expensive and easily available to almost all of us at this point.
So the other side is, if somebody's at home, a lawyer, they're working out of their house, or a solo practitioner, and they're looking at these high-end YouTube production videos from other lawyers, but it's literally their commercial and it's stuck on YouTube. How can they compete in that arena? How can they become a stronger voice?
So when creating videos, first thing you gotta do is identify your audience and think of the messaging. The content is more important than anything else, just what you do on your website. So you have to think of your messaging. You have to decide what you're going to be talking about. From there, I would really focus on audio. So if your audio is clear and crisp, people are more likely to watch you and listen to you. And then from there, I mean, at this point, most cameras will do the trick. It doesn't have to be a very expensive camera, but audio is really, really important. I've heard a lot of people talk about use your iPhone, and that's good enough. And if that's all you have, better do that than nothing. But I still think audio is not as crisp as it could be an iPhone. So I would get a separate mic for that.
What if you're using the old EarPods? Come on, can't make fun of the ear. I mean, is that clear enough?
If you can get clear audio, go for it.
Okay. I'm not saying nobody, but a lot of people are sitting at home with the professional video, professional audio equipment. So how do you circumvent that? How do you get started now, right? So I'm more the mind of just do it. Your first few videos are going to suck anyways. Just get something going. So one trick that I heard, my sister actually told me that she was doing video for some health stuff, that she would cut the videos in her car. And it wasn't because of trying to look spontaneous or whatever, but she was like, the inside of a car is like the perfect, or not the perfect, but it's a great sound studio because it soaks up all the echo. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. So, I guess it's how you want to present yourself. I say YouTube is more about being authentic. Like, don't go like the full commercial production thing. The great thing about a lot of the YouTubers now, even though they use a lot of high-end equipment and professional equipment, all this stuff, it still does not give off that presence of, hey, this is a TV commercial, right? Nobody wants to go onto YouTube and watch your commercial. I mean, we created TiVo so that we can skip past commercials. Why is somebody going to go on YouTube and type in lawyer commercial? I would love to watch. I'm looking for a good 30-minute commercial.
Unless you're marketing.
Even in marketing, man, I don't watch it. I still don't watch it.
And I think that's why we talk about messaging, but let's take a little bit further. If you go online, there's like a different funnel. So I would highly recommend looking into the structure of having different funnels and having this kind of like, there's a pyramid of like, what are your audience? Are you just getting to know you? Are they actually already know you and they're looking for something specific? Or they're like the top level where they're actually trying to purchase and they're like in the decision-making process. So think of that and think of who watching your videos. Is it gonna be first time they're getting to know you? They're not gonna wanna be hearing your pitch. They're gonna want to know about information. Maybe they're doing research about what to look in a lawyer, or like whether they should hire a lawyer, or maybe they don't even know they even need a lawyer. So they come across, let's pretend it's dog bite that you're trying to do. So they'll be like, dog bit me, what do I do? Or how do I treat dog bites? And that's when you can talk about, this is what I've seen, this is what you should do, these are things you need to look out for, educate them. Once you educate them, then you can remarket them with a different type of video. Now that you know they watch your dog bite, like introduction, kind of what to do video, now you'll be like, this is why you need to hire a lawyer, what they can't do, what they can do for you that you can't do on your own, and kind of go from there, like create a funnel of like what to show them next, and think of it, the pattern that they might follow.
So you're saying, and I want to put some definition to this, or clarify, to retarget somebody who's watched your video, but are you talking about that? You can't create a YouTube video to retarget somebody who's watched your YouTube video, or can you?
I mean, we talk about YouTube, we can do the same thing on Facebook. You are able to do retargeting on
But these are ads. It's not like, you're not like creating a Facebook video, publishing it and saying, I only want to show this to people who.
No, we're talking about the ads here. Yes.
Okay. So you can launch, so Facebook retargeting ad to another Facebook video.
Yes.
And Google, can Google, I know Google will do retargeting, but I don't know if they'll do that.
Yeah, with Google, especially in the legal field, there's a lot of restrictions, but if you have different type of business, I definitely think you should look into what options you have so you don't violate Google policies. Okay.
So working that type of a funnel, you're saying, first, funnel, we're gonna be like a high level. That's kind of you may not even know that you need a solution. You're kind of information gathering. Going to like your dog bite, right? The top of the funnel is they got into a dog bite. It's like, hey, what can I do? What should I do? Can I get compensation, or how do I pay for medical bills, or does insurance cover a dog bite? That type of stuff. High funnel, they don't know that even calling a lawyer is a solution at this point, potentially. Middle funnel is like, hey, I know what the solution is. Or that solution's out there, so I want to research it more and see what my options are. And bottom funnel is like, okay, now I'm ready to hire a lawyer. Who should I be choosing? Why should I be choosing them? Looking at reviews, things of that sort. So just to define that funnel, that's what we mean by funnel. You're going to start at this more broad and bring them down this pipeline. But that funnel works most specific for ads.
Yes.
Because of the potential to retarget.
Yeah.
Even though on YouTube, I think YouTube is most of that's going to be high funnel, mid funnel, right? It's going to be very broad topics. It's things like, can I replace my lawyer after I've already retained them? Some of these questions that people don't know.
And with YouTube, you are able to target specific topics and keywords too. So if someone watched specific videos or research things online, because it's all on the Google, you are able to gear your videos to be shown to those type of people. But once again, this is, we're talking about paid. Matt, can you tell us a bit more? What can they do organically to show the video more often?
Well, I would keep I'm going to talk about YouTube specifically.
Okay.
Organic, it's going to be YouTube. So the title tags, I would keep them under, and title tag is your headline, your video headline. That's what's going to show up and be the link on YouTube, or be the link on Google when Google shows the YouTube video in the results. Keep that headline concise, but include the primary thing that you want to rank for. And by concise, I would say under, I think it's like under 50, 55 characters, somewhere around there, because you don't want to truncate the headline. So if it's too long, it'll cut off the headline and it'll say ... right? And it can be problematic. I'm going to give an example of a search engine result I've seen where people end their title tag on their web page with no win, no fee, right? But it truncates it, right? So it's a personal injury, the best personal injury lawyer in all of the world no win, no fee. And it's so long that Google cuts it off. And where they cut it off at, right between the word no win and no fee. So you see best personal injury lawyer in the world, no win. Probably want to make sure, like, that's not a lot of people will be clicking on that. So you want to make sure that's not going to happen with your YouTube. So you don't want to truncate your headlines. Include keywords in there. Be descriptive. Include, you want a longer description. There are a lot of stats that go into the length of a video, whether it gets the most likes or the most shares or this, that, and the other. There's all these little nitty gritty, real technical things that go into optimizing a video, depending on what you want to do. But the key things are the content should be relevant to what you want to rank for. I don't think we should ever think that Google does not understand what you are saying in a video. They do, because they can auto create captions. If they can auto create captions, then they know what you're saying. And now they will actually, in Google's results, the link will go in the middle of the video where you are covering whatever topic that somebody is searching for. So we know that they know what your video is saying. So stay on topic. Only cover one topic and cover that as thorough as you can. You don't be afraid to use shortcuts in the description where you click on the link and it will skip in the video to wherever you're talking about a subtopic within that primary topic. And not necessarily, well, it is somewhat of a ranking thing, is include the video within your web page. And it's going to give you a couple of good, just on a user experience level. A lot of people, if you are discussing a topic, will go to dog bites, right? If you add that to a practice area that has to do with dog bites, because when somebody comes to your web page, a lot of people are going to see all this text and be like, man, I'm just going to play the video. Like, well, I don't want to read this text. And that's just society. That's how we are. We're going to play that video. Maybe we're going to play that video and we're going to read the text while playing the video. But having these videos that are highly topically relevant also means that you can recycle the content. You can take what you've said in this video, and now you have the content for your practice area pages, or now you have the content for a blog. So like what you were talking about earlier, a great point with that is that if you cut these videos, a lot of times it's easier to discuss something via video than to sit down and write a blog, because you don't know what to write about, and outlining it becomes difficult. But if you can have that flow of information through video, now you have a pretty good understanding of what you can write in a blog. So just take that, and you can use something like rev.com to create captions, or to transfer that video to text, or you can just go through your video and just pick out the key points and create your blog from it.
Mm-hmm. Very well. Let's talk a little bit about how to record videos, because I know a lot of people have issue just approaching the topic. It's just the concept of sitting down and having camera on is terrifying. So we found a really good way to approach that. Matt, do you want to go with that a little bit?
Just do it.
All right, I'll do it then.
No, so, that's the way you do it. You just do it. That's my approach. My approach is, you don't want to do it? You don't have to upload the first one, let it suck. Get your phone out, click the button that says, put it in front of you, and just start talking into whatever it is. Bullet point what you want. Have that bullet point behind you so you can just read the bullet points if you don't want. You don't have to publish it. Just record it. Or you can look at it and be like, oh man, that was horrible. I'm going to redo this. But, let's put a constraint on this. Don't do it 1,000 times. I know you've got better ways than I do. My thing is just I jump in. I'm like, oh, the water's cold. Man, I don't know. I'm already jumping in.
Well, and I think like sometimes having bullet points, like depending on what type of person you are, some people have to have bullet points. Others just think of it this way. Think of a question, write down the question, and then just answer it on video the way you would do talking to a client. And that's the best approach, because you already know what to say. You have the information. You might mess up. You might need to take a second take, but think of like question answer scenario. That way you will write down the questions you want to cover, think about them, and then just turn on the camera and answer question after question. That way you have a lot of videos, just breaking them, cut them when you're done. You have multiple videos, you just record it in one sitting. But once again, one setting doesn't work for everyone. Some people rather do one video at a time, which is also fine. But thinking as an answer to a question, it just makes information flow much easier for most people.
Yeah, and if you're going to be editing the video with like hard cuts, and so hard cuts is not where you're going to fade in and fade out. You're going to literally just cut and put put the two pieces together, two clips together. Don't be afraid to do that. That's very common in YouTube. That's what I do in my YouTube things. We don't cut these videos. We don't cut typically. I mean, obviously we're gonna. If you see this video, we cut the front because we put in an intro, right? Aside from that, these we just let it carry on, and we have a in-depth conversation over a topic. But the other videos, some that we do, you watch them. There's gonna be hard cuts, and this is how I run a video. I will talk about the topic before I start. I know I'm going to say it. I'll give myself count to 3, stare at the camera, count to 3, then start saying whatever your answer to your question is. When you finish, count to 3, and then look down. It's one thing that I know that I catch myself in is where I'll look up and start talking, and I'll look down, and as I'm finishing, it's hard to cut that. You're going to cut yourself looking up and looking down. So for me, that's an easy tip. Just pause, make sure there's a purposeful pause in between sections where you're most likely going to be cutting a video, and the audio. And two, here's the thing, you can have a video and have it just look absolutely horrendous. That's secondary to being able to hear. If you can't hear what the hell somebody's saying, then
It's not worth it.
Nobody's watching it, and realize your first few videos, people most likely aren't going to watch it. I would make it personal, make it about you, make it about your background. How did you get into law? Why are you into the practice area that you're in? And stay, I know every attorney's like, oh, because I wanted to make a difference. No, actually put some meat on that bone. You know what I mean? Give us the real inside scoop. It was all about the money. That's cool. Sometimes it's like, hey, I know that people are out there that are victimized, that they deserve compensation. And I came from a home where, we were homeless growing up, and I wanted more for my family, and I knew law was the way to do that. It's an honest answer. People are going to connect to that as much as you may not think that, and that you don't want to put yourself out in that way. That's how people are going to connect. That's how I have my first videos. How did you get into the law? Why choose you? Why are you different? What are you bringing to the table? And don't go into some crazy production. I've seen lawyers that were just starting that before having a website, they were getting clients off of YouTube because they were being honest. And they were literally just connecting with their audience on a personal level, and it converted like crazy.
Yeah. And if you do want to have the higher production and you don't have the ability to do it, there's a ton of people you can work with. Doesn't have to be high end. You could record it yourself, send it to someone to edit those videos. Or there are smaller firms and videographers. Yeah. They can do really good job. Once again, we're not doing a TV commercial. We're trying to make it genuine. And sometimes the smaller production comes off more genuine than high production videos.
Yeah, I think that's the key. The key is be authentic, be genuine. People see through bullshit. They do. Let's just call it what it is. And it's not saying that commercial production, is BS. It's that it doesn't belong on YouTube. It doesn't, and the reason why it doesn't belong on YouTube because the intent is completely different. There's a place for commercials. There's a place for having that very big pitch and that's more usually going to be in a paid advertising scenario. That's usually going to be when you're coming down this funnel. The one, and the reason why I think I've hit on this 3 or 4 times now in this conversation. The reason why I bring it up, it's the number one thing where I see people go wrong. The attorneys, they're going to add videos and instead of dump a whole bunch of commercials on YouTube. And you're like, oh, how come people aren't converting and I don't get views and blah, blah, blah. It's because you're a commercial. Yeah. How many times do you sit at home and be like, let me rewind that TV show and go back to the commercials? 0 times. How many people are going to purposely watch your video if it's a commercial? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really important because we jumped in talking about commercials at the beginning because that's what I love. But when you're thinking of like a video strategy, first approach it, think, where is it going? Is it going to be organic YouTube videos? Are we creating videos for ads? Now,
Yeah.
depending which one it is, you're going to have two completely different strategies. Okay. So as Matt was mentioning, if you're doing YouTube organic, those have to be more educational, more genuine. Do not try to sell on that because that's not what it's for. It's not going to do well for you. If we are running an ad campaign, now that's when we do a mix and match depending on what channel you're doing, what your strategy is. Are you doing just like high targeted like people who've been on your website, or are you just doing more of like a campaign, just showing people who might be interested in the topic and then put them into a funnel and then show them the salesy videos?
Yeah, there's a place for the sales, and definitely, I mean, and it works as long as you have it positioned correctly.
But you have to show the right video to the right audience at the right time, which
Yeah.
sounds very simple, but that's when you plan this out from the beginning, so you don't fall into the trap of creating these like ton of videos and not knowing what to do with them, or maybe showing them in the wrong platform or the wrong audience.
So how can somebody plan that out? What are some tools that people can use to plan out, let's say both? Let's plan out the organic, the YouTube or organic end, and then also the ad end. How do you go about this process?
I think it's very personal to each firm. I think it really comes down to do you have a budget to run ads? If you don't, stick with organic. It's going to do great. And maybe that's a great way to even get started. Just to do videos, do organically, get used to it, practice it. Start with that. If you do have an ad budget, now that's going to be more like, do you have a preference? Are you running Google ads? You want to do test Google versus Facebook? And by Facebook, it really goes into Facebook and Instagram together. Or if you B2B, do you just want to do videos on LinkedIn? Because that's where your audience is. So there's no like one thing that goes for everyone. It's really personal, and you need to think of what your company is doing and where your audiences are at, and then what are your capabilities are. If you don't have a big budget, don't try to do videos. Go the organic route. Put that budget, the whatever little budget you have, into getting good equipment. Get a light, get a mic, and just do those YouTube videos.
But how, in the planning end of it, how do you go about planning what videos you're going to do? Where do they fit? What does that process look like? Well, a lot of people, instead of just diving in and doing a video and figuring it out, they're going to need to be able to put a plan together as to what to talk about, when, and where it belongs.
Okay, so let's first talk about the YouTube, and then we'll jump into Facebook, because it's a little bit two different strategies here.
Yeah.
And you could use both videos on both depending, but let's separate them for now.
Yep.
So let's say you were doing organic YouTube videos, the things to talk about and post really comes down, as I said, your audience. Think of the questions you've heard people asking you quite often. Is there do they ask you specific questions of what to do, how to handle a case, or maybe general, like, I don't know, do I go to a doctor? It really depends. So think of those questions, talk to your team members. You may not even know if the questions they're asking. So go and talk to your team members. Think of things people might be looking at. Also go online and you can do a research of what questions people are asking. Go to Quora and other sites to find out what people want to know, and use that to create your strategy for more of the general basic videos. And then you can take those and also apply them to Facebook if you're doing the general kind of like the videos where you're trying to just see who's interested. Those would be great videos for that as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to interject, because coming up with that, how to come up with ideas and research in Quora, like you said, is a great option. And another option that I found that's good for coming up with video topics is searching for the broad topic. I'm going back to dog bite. You started it, so I'm just going to carry on through the rest of this. But if you typed in dog bite into Google, it's going to probably say people also ask, and then there's going to give you a bunch of questions. If you click on one of those questions, it's going to give you other questions that have to do with that topic, and you can just go down this rabbit hole, and you can see where the same question ends up appearing multiple times. And those are going to be ones that you want to definitely address, and also use that the other ones that may not repeat all all the time. They're still in the people also ask
Mhm.
section on Google as brainstorming ideas as whether that you want to include that into the video. And then if you go down to the bottom of the search result, it'll say related searches or people also search for something like that. And they can give you some more expansion into either other topics that are related, that can be other videos, or ideas to include into that video. And then you can get more narrow on the search instead of dog bite, type in dog bite lawyer, and then see what people are asking. And you're getting all these different questions, and you got all these, different things that you're brainstorming on that you can select from to create your video. But with ads, we talked about, okay, let's go into the ads. How are we going to bucket these and put these into different sections to know, hey, this is a video that I want to do about this. And then once they hear this, then I want to hit them with this other retargeting one. Then I want to hit them with this other retargeting one. What does that look like? How can somebody best plan that out?
Okay. So let's say we ran our basic videos and already have a list of people who might be interested in your services. So now that they know who you are, because they watch your videos, they're familiar with you, hopefully they have some trust. The next thing is now you're going to show them more of a why trust you, kind of the little nudge. So you might want to use more of an expert video or maybe a testimonial video would be really, really great. Talk about people who in this scenario were bitten by dogs and got really great results. Maybe they weren't even sure they needed a lawyer, but glad they hired one. So now we're moving them up the funnel of like, oh, well, this firm obviously does a good job, and maybe I do need a lawyer. I'm not sure. They did good for them. And then you can go up a little further and talk about a video of what a lawyer can do for them and why hiring a lawyer is a good idea. And then after that, if they watch those videos, you can actually do your big sales video of why hire you? What makes you different? What are you going to do for them even more depth? So think of it more of like a ladder of working them up to hiring you. And the last video, this is when you do your messaging, and that's when you do your call to action. This is when you tell them, call us. This is our phone number. Go to our website, text us, whatever the options you have. This is the place to do it.
Okay. And so calls to action, you brought up, you still want to add the call to action to the other videos, right? Like to every video call to action, or not? Or should you have a different call to action?
The general education videos, you don't. I mean, look, you're going to have your information probably somewhere on there, but don't make it sales. Don't make it call us. You can do like, hey, if you have questions, we'll be more happy to answer you, but don't make it into call us. We'll give for consultation. We're going to help you, because at this point, it's too soon.
Yeah. Oh, what about, hey, like our page?
That's fine. I think we've seen that a lot, and it became such a common thing that it's almost expected.
Yeah. Or YouTube, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, like, share, and
you'll hear me at the end of this video say that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of being online at this point.
Yeah. Okay. And actually with that, I think let's wrap this up, unless there's anything else that we should be going over that I don't see. The
only thing I want to add is a lot of law firms and businesses love using a video on their homepage. And I think this is going to be a little bit different of a video than what we've been talking about. So I want to touch base on that just a tiny bit. Because I have seen some websites when they use those generic videos on that, just talking about topics. And I think this is where you could be a little bit more salesy. This is when you're talking about your firm. This is your business card. This is the first impression people are going to get of you. So this is where you might want to have a little bit higher production value if you can.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's, again, though, it's the opportunity for the potential client to connect with you. So you still want to be authentic. You still want to be genuine, but you can definitely be a little more salesy because you are pitching yourself. They're on your front page, on your homepage. They want to learn about you. So tell them about yourself. Tell them why you're the right choice for them to make for their matter.
Yes. And great time to talk about your awards and your settlements and just what makes you unique.
Yeah. yeah, throw testimonials in there, throw whatever. I mean, this is, yeah, that is the time to put everything on the table, because they're already at your website. They're considering you. They're at that bottom of the funnel. They're considering whether they're going to pick up that phone and give you a call. So give them a reason to call. Right?
All right, that is it.
All right. With that, be sure to like or subscribe to get notifications of future videos. And we come out with these about once a month, where it's a longer conversation. We come out with weekly quick updates on search engine marketing. So again, subscribe, click the subscribe button. It's going to show up over probably there, right? Or like somewhere, or follow us on whatever this is on. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.